Imagine you are sitting in a quiet room. The year is 2022. Outside, millions of people are going about their lives. They are cooking dinner. They are helping their children with homework. They are watching television. Nothing feels different. Nothing feels new. Then, on a cold November evening, something happens. A website goes live. It is simple. It has a small text box. You type a question, and something answers you back. Not a human, not a recorded message. Something new. Something that had never existed before. Within 5 days, 1 million people try it. Within 2 months, 100 million people are using it. The world changes forever. And behind that moment, behind that small text box that shook the entire planet, was one man who had been working toward this for more than a decade. A man who believed, when almost no one else did, that artificial intelligence would change everything. His name is Sam Altman. This is his story. Sam Altman was born on April 22nd, 1985, in Chicago, Illinois. He grew up in a quiet suburb of St. Louis, Missouri. His family was not famous. His parents were not billionaires. His father was a real estate developer. His mother was a dermatologist. They were a normal, educated, middle class American family. But Sam was not a normal child. From a very young age, Sam was different. Not different in the way that causes problems, different in the way that makes teachers nervous because they do not know what to do with a child who thinks too far ahead. When Sam was 8 years old, he got his first computer. It was a Macintosh. The moment he touched it, something inside him woke up. He did not just want to play games on it, he wanted to understand it. He wanted to know how it worked. He wanted to take it apart with his mind and put it back together again. He started reading everything he could find about computers. He learned how to program. He was still in elementary school. While other children were playing outside, Sam was sitting at his desk, writing code, making little programs, testing ideas. His mother watched this and she understood. She did not tell him to go outside and play. She supported him. She saw something in her son that she could not fully explain but deeply respected. She believed in him before he believed in himself. That kind of early love and support matters more than people realize. It plants a seed, and seeds, when watered with belief, grow into something extraordinary. Sam attended John Burroughs School in St. Louis. It was a private school. Sam was smart, but he was also private. He did not have hundreds of friends. He was thoughtful. He was quiet at times. But when he had an idea, he could not stop talking about it. His mind never slowed down. He was also gay, which he would later speak about openly. Growing up in Missouri in the 1990s and early 2000s was not easy for a young gay person. There were moments of loneliness. There were moments when he felt like he did not fully belong. But those experiences also gave him something valuable. They gave him resilience. They gave him the ability to exist outside the crowd. They taught him that being different is not a weakness. Being different, Sam would later understand, is the beginning of everything. In 2003, Sam graduated from high school and was accepted into Stanford University in California. Stanford is one of the most respected universities in the world. It sits in the heart of Silicon Valley, surrounded by technology companies, venture capital firms, and the kind of energy that only exists when brilliant people are all working towards something new. Sam studied computer science at Stanford. He loved it. But he also noticed something strange. He noticed that the most exciting things were not happening inside the classroom. They were happening outside, in garages, in small offices, in conversations between young people with big ideas and the courage to try them. He started paying close attention to the startup world. He read about companies being built from nothing. He read about people who had dropped out of school to pursue an idea. And he started to wonder, could he do that? Did he have an idea worth pursuing? The answer came in 2005 during his second year at Stanford. Sam and a few friends had been working on an idea for a location based social networking application. This was before smartphones were common, before Instagram, before Snapchat, before most people even knew what a smartphone would become. The app was called Looped. It allowed people to share their location with friends and see where the people they cared about were at any given moment. It sounds simple now, but in 2005, it was ahead of its time. Sam made a decision. He left Stanford. He did not finish his degree. He went all in on Looped. His parents were worried. His mother, especially. She had worked hard. She had become a doctor. Education was important in their family. Leaving Stanford felt like a risk that was too big, too uncertain, too frightening. But Sam sat down with her and explained what he saw. He told her about the future he believed was coming. He told her that this moment right now was important, that waiting would mean missing it, that sometimes the right path is not the expected one. She listened, she worried, and then she trusted him. That conversation between a mother and her son, sitting in a quiet room, talking about the future, was the first step in a journey that would take Sam Altman from a college dropout to one of the most influential people in the world. But first, he had to struggle. And the struggle was real. Building Looped was hard. Sam was young. He was in his early 20s. He had a big idea but limited experience. He had to learn everything on the job: how to build a team, how to talk to investors, how to make money, how to keep people motivated when things were not working, and things often were not working. Looped had trouble finding users. Location sharing felt uncomfortable to many people. Privacy was a concern. The technology was still developing. Some investors said the idea was too early. Some said it was not interesting enough. Some said Sam was too young, too inexperienced, too uncertain. There were nights when Sam sat alone with his thoughts and wondered if he had made a mistake, if leaving Stanford had been foolish, if the comfortable, expected path might have been better. But he did not quit. He kept going. He kept learning. He kept improving. And something remarkable happened. Y Combinator, a famous startup accelerator based in Silicon Valley, accepted Looped into their program. This was a massive breakthrough. Y Combinator was run by Paul Graham, one of the smartest and most respected people in the startup world. Paul Graham believed in finding raw talent and helping it grow. He looked at Sam Altman and he saw something special. Not just the idea, not just the technology, but the person, the mind. The hunger being accepted into Y Combinator changed everything for Sam. Not just because of the funding, though that helped, but because of the community, because of the conversations, because of being surrounded by other founders who were also trying to build something from nothing. Sam threw himself into that world. He worked, he asked questions, he listened, he observed. He was like a sponge, absorbing everything around him. Looped eventually raised millions of dollars in funding. It was a legitimate company. It had real users. It had a real team. For a college dropout in his early 20s, it was an impressive achievement. But Looped never became the massive success that Sam had hoped for. The world was moving fast. Big companies like Google and Facebook were building their own location features. The competition was overwhelming. In 2012, Looped was sold to Green Dot Corporation for about $43 million. It was not a failure, But it was not the world changing success Sam had dreamed of either. He sat with that feeling for a while. The sale of Looped was bittersweet. He had worked for years on this company, he had given it everything, and it had ended, not with a bang, but with a quiet sale. Some people, after an experience like that, would take a rest, would enjoy the money, would step back from the pressure. Sam Altman went looking for his next challenge. And that challenge found him in the form of a phone call from Paul Graham. Paul Graham was stepping back from running Y Combinator. He needed someone to lead the organization, someone who understood startups from the inside, someone who was young enough to connect with the next generation of founders, someone who was smart enough to see the future before it arrived. He called Sam. I want you to run Y Combinator, Paul said. Sam was surprised. He was 30 years old. Y Combinator was not just a startup, it was an institution. It had helped build companies like Dropbox, Airbnb, Stripe, and Reddit. It was one of the most important organizations in Silicon Valley. Leading it would mean taking responsibility for hundreds of startups, thousands of founders, billions of dollars of potential value. It was terrifying. And Sam said yes. In 2014, Sam Altman became the president of Y Combinator. And from the moment he stepped into that role, he did not just maintain what had been built, he transformed it. He expanded Y Combinator. He brought in more companies. He helped create new programs for growth stage startups. He started writing essays about startups, about ideas, about the future that people all over the world read and shared and discussed. Sam had a gift for thinking about big things clearly. He could take complicated ideas and explain them in simple, powerful language. He could see connections between things that other people missed. And he had the courage to say out loud what other people were only thinking quietly. He wrote about artificial intelligence. He wrote about nuclear energy. He wrote about universal basic income. He wrote about the future of cities. He was not afraid of big, uncomfortable, difficult questions. He ran toward them. Under Sam's leadership, Y Combinator became even more influential. It helped launch more companies. It invested in more ideas. And Sam himself became a recognizable voice in the global conversation about technology, innovation, and the future. But there was one idea that Sam kept coming back to, one idea that he could not let go of, one idea that he believed would matter more than anything else he had ever worked on: artificial intelligence. Sam had been thinking about artificial intelligence for years. He believed with complete seriousness that AI was going to be the most transformative technology in human history, more transformative than electricity, more transformative than the internet. He believed that AI could cure diseases that had killed millions. It could help solve climate change. It could make education available to every child in every corner of the world. It could lift people out of poverty. It could solve problems that humans had been unable to solve for centuries. But Sam also understood the danger. He understood that a technology this powerful, built without care, without thought, without values, could cause tremendous harm. That AI in the wrong hands, or built with the wrong goals, could be catastrophic. He thought about this constantly. He talked about it with other people who were also thinking about it. And he realized that someone needed to take responsibility for building AI carefully, thoughtfully, with safety as a core value, not as an afterthought, not as a marketing phrase, but as a genuine commitment that would shape every decision. In 2015, Sam, along with Elon Musk, Greg Brockman, Ilya Sutskever, and several other researchers and technologists, founded a new organization called OpenAI. OpenAI was not a typical technology company. It was founded as a non-profit with a mission to ensure that artificial general intelligence benefits all of humanity. Not one company, not one country, all of humanity. That mission sounds simple, but it represented a profound statement of values. It said, this technology is too important to be owned by one person or one corporation for private gain. This technology belongs to everyone, and building it must be done with that responsibility in mind. Sam became the chairman of OpenAI's board. He helped guide the organization in its early days. He helped recruit talent. He helped shape the vision. But he was still running Y Combinator at the same time. The two words were pulling at him. And eventually, Sam made another choice. In 2019, Sam Altman stepped down from Y Combinator and became the CEO of OpenAI. This was the moment everything accelerated. OpenAI was doing serious research. Their team included some of the most brilliant minds in artificial intelligence. They were publishing papers that were changing the field. They were building systems that could do things that had seemed impossible just a few years before. But the work was hard, progress was slow, and funding was a constant challenge. A nonprofit working on one of the most expensive research problems in history needs enormous resources. Computing power costs money. Talent costs money. Running experiments costs money. The numbers were staggering. OpenAI made a difficult decision. They created a new structure, a kept profit company alongside the nonprofit. This allowed them to raise investment funding while still keeping the mission at the center. Microsoft became a major investor, eventually putting in billions of dollars. Some people criticized this decision. They said OpenAI was becoming what it said it would never be. They said the mission was being compromised. Sam heard the criticism. He did not dismiss it. He understood it. These were real tensions that deserved real consideration. But he believed that without resources, without the ability to compete, the mission would fail before it even had a chance. You cannot build transformative technology without being able to pay your electric bill. Sam pressed forward. The team at OpenAI was working on language models. These were AI systems trained on vast amounts of text that could understand and generate language. They had released earlier versions, GPT-1, GPT-2, GPT-3. Each one was better than the last. Each one surprised people with what it could do. But the world had not fully noticed yet. The breakthroughs were real, but they were happening inside research papers and technical communities. Regular people had not felt them yet. Then came GPT-4. And then came the product that would put it in everyone's hands, ChatGPT. On November 30, 2022, OpenAI released ChatGPT to the public. It was a simple, clean interface. Anyone could go to the website. Anyone could type a question or a request, and the AI would respond in clear, fluent, thoughtful language. You could ask it to write an essay. It would write one. You could ask it to explain a scientific concept. It would explain it in simple terms. You could ask it to help you with your homework, to write a poem, to translate a sentence, to brainstorm ideas for your business. And it would do all of it instantly for free. The world did not walk toward ChatGPT. It ran. 1 million users in 5 days. 100 million users in 2 months. It became the fastest growing consumer application in history. Newspapers wrote about it. Television shows discussed it. Teachers worried about it. Students marveled at it. Doctors explored its medical knowledge. Lawyers tested its understanding of the law. Artists argued about its creativity. Scientists used it to help analyze data. Everyone had an opinion, and everyone had questions. And sitting at the center of all of it was Sam Altman. Suddenly, Sam was everywhere. He was testifying before the United States Senate. He was meeting with world leaders. He was speaking at universities and conferences and on podcasts and in newspapers. He was being called one of the most influential people in the world. He handled it with a kind of calm that surprised people. He was not arrogant. He was not dismissive. He was thoughtful. He acknowledged the risks. He talked about the potential dangers of AI with the same seriousness that he talked about its potential benefits. He did not pretend that everything was fine. He did not perform optimism. He was honest, and in a world full of people selling perfect futures, honesty is rare and refreshing. But then, in November 2023, something happened that no one saw coming. OpenAI's board of directors fired Sam Altman. It was a Friday afternoon. The announcement came without warning. The board said only that Sam had not been consistently candid with them. They gave no specific examples. They gave no detailed explanation. The technology world erupted. People who worked at OpenAI were shocked. Many of them had dedicated years of their lives to this mission, to this company, because of Sam. They trusted him. They believed in the direction he was leading them. Within hours of the announcement, hundreds of OpenAI employees wrote an open letter. They said they would leave the company if Sam was not brought back. They were willing to walk away from their jobs, their salaries, their equity, to stand behind their leader. That is not something that happens often. That is not something you can manufacture or buy. That kind of loyalty comes from something real, from someone who has shown up again and again with honesty and care and vision. Sam, for his part, went quiet for a few hours. And then he appeared online and said simply that he loved OpenAI and believed in its mission. Microsoft, which had invested billions in OpenAI, moved quickly. They offered Sam a new role at Microsoft, leading an AI research team. It seemed for a moment that the story had ended, that Sam Altman was no longer the CEO of the company he had helped build. But the story had not ended. The pressure on OpenAI's board was enormous. The employees were ready to leave. Investors were alarmed. The mission itself seemed at risk. Within 5 days, the board reversed course. Sam Altman returned as CEO of OpenAI. The crisis was over. But it left a mark. It raised important questions about governance, about power, about how an organization with a mission to benefit all of humanity should be structured and led. Sam came back not with anger but with focus. He reorganized the board. He steadied the company. He returned to the work. And through all of it, what emerged was a picture of a man who genuinely cared, not just about his own career, not just about his own reputation, but about the mission, about the possibility that this technology, built carefully and thoughtfully, could make the world better. That is a rare thing to find in any person, in any leader, in any industry. People who know Sam Altman often say the same things about him. They say he is curious. They say he listens more than he talks. They say he asks better questions than almost anyone they have ever met. They say he has a way of making you feel like your idea matters, like your perspective is valuable, like the thing you are working on is connected to something larger. These are not the qualities of someone chasing fame or wealth. These are the qualities of someone who genuinely believes that what they are doing matters. And it does matter. Think about what OpenAI has built and what it has made possible. Doctors in remote areas of the world using AI tools to help diagnose diseases with limited resources. Students who could not afford private tutors now having access to patient, intelligent explanations of any subject they want to learn. Small business owners using AI to write marketing materials, to manage customer service, to handle tasks that used to require expensive professionals. Researchers using AI to analyze data faster than ever before, to find patterns in biology and climate science and physics that human brains alone could not find. This is not science fiction. This is happening right now, today. And it is happening in no small part because Sam Altman spent decades believing it was possible. Let us go back to something important. Because the story of Sam Altman is not just about technology. It is not just about artificial intelligence. It is about something older and more human than any machine. It is about belief. Sam Altman is not the smartest person in any room. He will be the first to tell you that. OpenAI is full of researchers who are technically deeper than he is. There are mathematicians and computer scientists at that company who understand things at a level of detail that most people cannot imagine. But Sam has something that amplifies everything else. He has the ability to hold a vision, to see something that does not yet exist and believe in it so completely that he can make other people believe in it too. That is leadership. Not telling people what to do, but helping people see why it matters. When Sam was a child sitting at his Macintosh computer in St. Louis, he could not have explained what he was working toward. But something in him was being shaped, something was being built. The curiosity, the willingness to go deep, the comfort with ideas that other people found uncomfortable or premature. Those qualities do not appear overnight. They are built slowly, through years of practice, through small moments of choosing to go deeper instead of giving up, through the accumulation of 1,000 little decisions, to keep asking questions when the easy thing would be to stop. Sam also talks openly about failure, about how important it is, about how Looped not becoming a $1 billion company was not the end of the story but a part of it, about how every struggle teaches you something that success cannot. When you succeed, you feel good. When you fail and then get back up, you learn who you are. Sam Altman learned who he was through failure, through the sale of Looped, through the board crisis at OpenAI, through the moments when the path forward was not clear, through the times when he was criticized publicly, loudly, sometimes unfairly, he kept going. There is a conversation that Sam has described having with himself during difficult moments. When things are not working, when critics are loud, when the path feels uncertain, he asks himself, do I believe this matters? Do I believe this is important? And if the answer is yes, he keeps going. That is not complicated advice. It is not sophisticated strategy. It is something every person in every part of the world can understand and apply to their own life. Do you believe it matters? Then keep going. Sam Altman is also someone who thinks about the future with unusual seriousness. He does not think about next quarter or next year. He thinks about decades, about what kind of world we want to live in and what choices we need to make today to get there. He has talked about the possibility that AI could be used to solve some of the oldest and hardest problems facing humanity. He has funded research into cancer treatments. He has spoken about the potential of AI to dramatically accelerate scientific progress. He has talked about the possibility of a world where extreme poverty no longer exists because AI has made education, healthcare, and economic opportunity available to everyone. These are big ideas. Some people find them naive. Some people find them arrogant. But the people who have changed the world have always been the ones willing to hold big ideas seriously, to be laughed at for them, and to work toward them anyway. Sam Altman works toward them every day. He wakes up early, he reads, he meets with researchers, he talks to founders, he thinks about problems, he writes, he asks questions. He listens. And then he goes to sleep and does it again the next day. There is no magic in that. There is only consistency. Only the daily decision to show up and do the work, even when it is hard, even when you are tired, even when the critics are loud and the path is not clear. That is the real story of Sam Altman. Not the headlines, not the board crisis, not the billion-dollar investments, not the famous friends and the powerful enemies. The real story is a curious boy in St. Louis who loved his computer, who believed that machines could think and that if they could think, the world could be better, who never stopped believing that through all the failures and the doubts and the pressures and the criticism, who kept going. There are young people all over the world right now who have ideas that feel too big, who look at what they want to do and think, I am not smart enough, I am not rich enough, I am not from the right place, I do not have the right connections. I do not know enough. Sam Altman would say, start anyway. He would say, the only way to find out if your idea is worth something is to pursue it. The only way to build the skills you need is to start before you feel ready. The only way to find the people who will support you is to put your idea out into the world. He dropped out of one of the best universities in the world at 19 years old because he believed in an idea. He failed with that idea and came back stronger. He led one of the most important organizations in Silicon Valley through crisis and chaos. He helped build a technology that changed the world in a single night. None of that was guaranteed. None of it was certain. None of it came without cost, without pain, without moments of deep uncertainty. But it was possible because he believed it was possible and because he worked for it every single day. There is someone in your life right now who told you to be more realistic, who told you that your idea was too big, who told you to take the safe path, the expected path, the path that other people have already walked. Listen to them kindly and then do the work anyway. The world does not change through safety, it changes through courage. Through people who are willing to be wrong publicly, to fail visibly, to be laughed at, to be criticized, and to keep going because they believe that what they are doing matters. Sam Altman built something that 1 million people wanted in 5 days and 100 million people wanted in 2 months. He did not do that by playing it safe. He did that by working for more than a decade towards something he believed in. You have something you believe in. What are you waiting for? The year is 2024 and Sam Altman is still working, still learning, still asking questions. OpenAI is still growing. The technology is still developing. The debates about AI, its risks and its opportunities are louder than ever. And Sam is in the middle of all of it, not hiding, not stepping back. Leaning forward, he appears at conferences and says things that make people uncomfortable, like that AI might be one of the most dangerous technologies ever created, and in the same breath says that he is going to keep building it as carefully and thoughtfully as he can. Because if powerful AI is coming regardless, it is better to have people focused on safety at the frontier than to leave that space to others. People argue about whether he is right. They argue about whether OpenAI lives up to its mission. They argue about power and profit and accountability. These arguments are good. They are necessary. A technology this powerful deserves serious, sustained, uncomfortable debate. And Sam Altman, to his credit, does not run from the debate. He shows up for it. He sits in front of senators who have spent decades in Washington and explains what large language models are and how they work. He does not talk down to them. He does not perform impatience with their lack of technical knowledge. He explains clearly and patiently what this technology is, what it can do, and what the risks are. He talks to artists who are afraid that AI will take their work. He talks to workers who are afraid that AI will take their jobs. He talks to parents who are afraid of what their children are growing up into. And he takes those fears seriously. He does not dismiss them. He does not say, "Do not worry, technology always works out." He says, "These are real concerns that deserve real attention." And it is the responsibility of the people building this technology to think carefully about those consequences. That kind of intellectual honesty is not common. It is not comfortable. It would be easier to say, AI is wonderful and everything will be fine. Sam does not say that. He says, this is complicated and hard and important, and we are going to do our best to get it right. That is a more difficult thing to say, and it is a more truthful thing. And in a world full of simple answers to complicated questions, true is the most valuable thing you can offer. There are things about Sam Altman that people do not often talk about. The fact that he has invested his own money in dozens of startups over the years, helping other founders with resources and guidance. The fact that he has mentored young people who came to Y Combinator with nothing but an idea and left with companies worth billions. The fact that his former colleagues describe him as someone who shows up for people personally in hard moments. Leadership is not just about the big public moments. It is about the 10,000 small moments when no one is watching. When you answer the late night email from a struggling founder, when you take time to explain something to someone who asked a question you have already answered 100 times, when you choose honesty over comfort, clarity over flattery. Sam Altman has made many mistakes. He will make more. He is human, and the problems he is working on are harder than almost any problems any human has ever worked on. There is no perfect path through a technological revolution. But what is clear from watching him over many years is that he is genuinely trying, not performing trying, actually trying. And that matters enormously because the people who change the world are not the people without flaws. They are the people who care deeply enough about something to work on it every day, despite their flaws, despite the failures, despite the uncertainty. Sam Altman cares about the future. He cares about whether the technology he is building makes the world better. He cares about the people who will be affected by it. He cares about getting it right. That care is the foundation of everything he has built, and it is available to everyone. You do not need a Stanford education to care about something. You do not need venture capital funding to work towards something. You do not need to be from Silicon Valley to believe that you can make a difference. You need only to find the thing that you care about and commit to it fully, even when it is hard, especially when it is hard. Sam Altman sat at a Macintosh computer when he was 8 years old and felt something, a curiosity, an excitement, a sense that this machine, this technology, was pointing towards something important. He followed that feeling for 40 years. He is still following it. And the world is different because he did. There will come a day, years from now, when someone who is young today will look back at this period in history. They will see the years when AI changed everything, when machines learned to read and write and reason, when the tools that humanity built began to seem, in some small and astonishing way, almost alive. And they will know that this moment was shaped by people who cared enough to take it seriously, who were not reckless, who were not indifferent, who woke up every day and asked themselves, how do we do this right? Sam Altman was one of those people. That is not nothing. That is everything. So the next time you open a chat window and type a question, the next time you receive an answer that surprises you, that helps you, that teaches you something you did not know, that solves a problem you could not solve alone. Remember the boy in St. Louis. Remember the computer. Remember the years of failure and doubt and persistence. Remember the Friday afternoon when he was fired and the Monday morning when he came back. Remember that none of it was inevitable. All of it was chosen, day by day, decision by decision. The choice to believe, the choice to work, the choice to keep going. That is the story of Sam Altman. And in some small, important, deeply human way, it is also your story. Because you are alive right now, in this moment, at the beginning of something that will define the century. And the question is not whether this technology will change the world, it already has. The question is what you will do with it, how you will use it, what you will build, what problems you will choose to solve, what future you will choose to work toward. Sam Altman chose to work toward a future where intelligent machines help humans live better lives, where the benefits of this technology reach everyone, not just the privileged few, where the power of AI is guided by values, by care, by a genuine commitment to doing what is right. He is still working on it. What are you working on? The answer to that question, whatever it is, matters. Your idea matters. Your contribution matters. The world needs not one Sam Altman. It needs millions of people who care about something deeply enough to work toward it with honesty and persistence and courage. You might be one of them. In fact, you probably are. Start today. Start small. Start messy. Start before you are ready. And keep going. The world is waiting for what you will build. Moral of the story. Believe in your vision even when others doubt it. Start before you are ready. Embrace failure as a teacher and never stop working towards something that matters. One person's quiet, persistent belief can change the world for everyone.